I'm Cathy Kilyewala. I'm Uganda. I have very deep Baganda roots. That is a dominant tribe in Uganda. I come from a big family of about 20 children, most of us girls. I'm a co-director with the CHESA Fellowship program, and I think I come on board having been a senior scholar for Global Partners in Anesthesia and Surgery since 2014. I'm a lecturer at Makerere University, School of Medicine, Department of Surgery. And I'm posted on the Breast and Endocrine Surgery unit, where I see mainly breast cancer patients, patients with thyroid diseases, but we also see a lot of general surgical conditions, especially the ones that come in as emergencies. I am currently the president of Women in Surgery Africa Ugandan chapter. I am also, I have a big mandate to also mentor women who want to join surgery. Generally, I'm very passionate about that. So I joined the Global Partners in Surgery in 2014. Around that time, I just completed my postgraduate program, MED Surgery. Unfortunately, the country has, Uganda as a country, we are a little slow with deploying our trained personnel. So around that time, I just finished my training for MED Surgery. I feel I had accomplished a lot in both academic performance, clinical performance, but I had no placement as a surgeon. I had an interest in academia for surgery. I had an interest in research for surgery, and I had an interest in global health and collaborative work. But there was no structure that would absorb me at the time. So that is how I came to join Global Partners in Anesthesia and Surgery. It was an opportunity for me to get absorbed into a program that believed in the aspects that I wanted to achieve, or I foresaw myself, growing into. It was an opportunity for me to transition from just being a student and later on a member of faculty or join academia full-time. It allowed for me to understand collaborative work, global surgery, research, bridging gaps between students and departments, mentor students, mentor research, develop curricula, and those kind of things. So GPAS, like I said, looked at training, building capacity, and bringing anesthesia and surgery as close together as they should be, which they should be anyway. So I feel GPAS was what they call the foundation upon which CHESA is now standing, because all the collaborations they've brought together under the umbrella, all the capacity they've built for anesthesia and surgery as GPAS has come together now to give back on a under a larger umbrella for the global surgery and anesthesia agenda. So that's why I think the growth is important, and it has not abandoned the mission as GPAS. It is just a carry-on, or maybe let me say a transition in a sense. Yeah. So from this, I hope that we are going to build robust researchers for the program. We're going to build a bigger team for the program, because the bottom belief, again, right from GPAS to CHESA, is that once you have been with us, you're always going to be with us. And I feel very privileged because I see it in me. I mean, I was with GPAS as a scholar, and now I'm with JPAS as a with CHESA as a co-director. So with the next team, I feel we're going to build very, polished researchers, but then I feel we're going to build a bigger team. So this is going to be a snowballing moment for CHESA as the years go by. Currently, we have fellows coming from all over the world. Yeah, whereas someone will think the fellows are coming from only African countries, no, they're coming from across the world, even if the bigger percentage is from the African countries. If we have one fellow from each country, at least one fellow, that is a good representation on a global map that will give CHESA a direction on the global needs. And maybe we'll do targeted support for different nations, depending on the different needs that we'll have identified. Will help us train these fellows and then build capacity for CHESA from having representation. And from the fellows themselves, I believe that because each one touches another, I believe that it will also help us, these very fellows, from them being trained to lessen the work that each, initial faculty member had on their hands, whereby these very same fellows will be the ambassadors to help train others. So we are building capacity in a way that is, that is going to last, that is sustainable for the countries that will be trained, and also for the program itself. So yeah, my hopes are that we train them, and then they can train, and then we can have a good representation everywhere. Health issues are going to challenge everyone wherever they are. And we cannot deal with diseases just as a disease, patient after another. At one point, we'll have to look at the disparities as well, and understand how to go about all these different things that brings in the health systems and how things are running, lest we'll be on the desks for so long treating a patient after another. So we might have to influence decisions or interventions or innovations from another point of view, and someone has to look at those components to health, because they will still influence what happens at the desk when you see the patient. The training on health equity is important for, a 360 understanding of health challenges, and a more knowledgeable point of view in influencing health policies or laying strategy for, disease control and management. Also, it's a very good point for comparing disease, issues against different regions, against different countries, for purposes of borrowing ideas and knowing what is best to be done in different setups. It should be made accessible to even more students. I understand that at the moment we can only take about 20. Imagine our last, the fellows that are going to be interviewed for this program, we had more than 50 applicants. So you can see that the need is there. Yes, only that we probably have not yet, gotten enough capacity to accommodate for all of them. So to start with, I hope that we can grow enough capacity, if it's financial, if it's a human resource capacity, to accommodate for the number of fellows that would like to join the program. And not because of anything, but because the program is important to these fellows, to all clinicians, or to all of us. If we can also have more opportunities for these fellows to do comparative studies. Yes. Health equity, usually, when you talk about disparities, especially, you want to have a comparison. If you're doing only local centered research and that kind of thing, it does not give you an upfront comparative point of view. If I say this is happening here at this rate and this is happening there at this rate, if they're not compared at the same time, it might not be very, very accurate. So if we can have opportunities for students to have comparative researches and exposures, it'd be very, very good for them. Patient Ugandan has cancer. First of all, he had challenges with the pathway to access care. And how he comes to me is because he stays in a village where I have relatives that now called me to see how they could get help. Most of the patients that you tend to see are, I got your number from this person, who got it from this person, who got it from this person, who got it from this person. And so anyway, they call me and they need help at the institute to get the diagnosis because he's, picking painkillers, self-medicating from a nearby pharmacy. And he's done that for about 2 years. Yes, but then he has a tumor in the neck that's growing and he's feeling pain. And then in the process of his care, he needs to do investigations A, B, C, and D, which he cannot afford. Now, the people who sent him, I had to let them know that, yeah, for sure, it's not the hospital asking him to pay money. These investigations actually need to be paid for. So the village chose to, contribute to his investigations, which is a little typical. Medical, clinical pathways to care are a challenge. Financing, like I mentioned, if a patient can't afford, then maybe the village can come together and help. But if there's not that village to help, what would be the next step? How would you help them? If the waving system is not going to be very accessible to them, how would they go about that? How do they know where to go next, especially if they're not well? How are we empowering the different health workers in the community to refer these patients appropriately? If I'm going to the pharmacy and I'm picking painkillers for 2 years from your pharmacy, shouldn't it strike you that maybe it's about time we send me to the right place, than just dispensing medication for me? So such things. Fortunately, the patient is now in an institution, well registered and awaiting the results so they can go into the mainstream care. Hopefully he will get his care and it will not be too late by the time he does get the care, and that they will be managed. But that is a typical story for most patients.